All right, and Rich, you also need to break out of that challengers round, and you want a shot at John. How are you going to do that today?
Hopefully, throw a good ball and execute and avoid that one big mistake. One string, you don't have too many chances, so you got to try to take advantage of what's in front of you.
Right. Well, you're both going to try to take advantage of that one string. Back over to you guys.
Trina, thank you. Here with the champ now, John Bird, and what a win for you last week over a real good guy who had a long run in Craig Holbrook.
Yes, he's a terrific bowler, outstanding individual person, and it was just a joy to be a part of it and be an exciting match.
Of course, it came at the end of a taping, so you've had to wait a few weeks to bowl again. Does that hurt your momentum?
Well, I hope not. You bowl all the time. I'm bowling pretty well still, so I'm hoping it'll carry on the momentum, and who knows? We'll take it from. Hopefully, I can bowl well today.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you very much.
We're back with the Challengers match right after this on CNA. Welcome back to the Woburn Bowlerdrome. All set for the Challengers match between Rich Clark and Mark Lavoie. The winner to advance to meet John Bird for the championship this week. Glad you're with us on CN8. Mark's going to go first from Nashua, New Hampshire.
Been with us on another occasion, and as talked about, and almost opened up with a backdoor strike. Leaves the head pin.
Just a one-game Challengers match. The better score advances. Good way to open for Mark with a spare in lane 35 in his first box.
Was able to take advantage of that huge break.
Over to 36, another strong crowd on hand at the Bowlerdrome.
Big 8-pin drop, leaves himself the 4-7, trying to go 2 spares in a row right off the bat, right out of the chute. Put a lot of pressure on Rich Clark. Ooh, just kisses that 7-pin.
2 in a row for Mark. And now to Rich.
Take a look at our pin cam. 4-pin just off the wall for the 7. And 2 in a row, as John said.
Left-handed Rich Clark off to the left. Drops just 2. He'll be open in the first.
Oh, terrific 10 box, though. The 1, the 8, and the 9. Rich doing a little house cleaning before he resets 35. Moving over to lane 36. We use 35 and 36 at the Woburn Bowlerdrome.
And we'll be here for our final 8 weeks of the regular season and our championship show. Half Worcester right for Rich.
Oh, and I thought he was going to convert that half Worcester for a spare.
Has the wood, though, angling in front. Not a problem.
There are 10 boxes. Trails by 8, but that'll increase with the first ball of Mark Lavoie's 3rd frame.
Mark owning that high single of 188.
Right back on the head pin, this time a 9, Phil.
A strong start for Mark Lavoie. Can he make it 3 marks in a row?
Well, to do that, he needs to knock down this 2-pin. Looks like the wood is frozen against that. Oh, you want to miss it, you're going to miss it to the right. Miss it to the left. 4-pin, 2-pin stands.
Open in the 3rd. Gets the score up to 47, though. A couple of bowlers from Leda Lanes.
Leda Lanes, Ray Simino and staff do a great job at Leda Lanes in Nashua. Recently had their Easter Sunday tournament. Haven't got the results yet. Once I get the results, I'll pass them on to you. Mark got a little work to do with his last ball.
So 2 marks and then 2 open frames. For Mark, he's at 55. Strong score through the first 4. Chance for Rich to get on the board with a mark. On the head pin to drop 9.
Leaves the 6-pin.
Miss though to the right. That is a missed opportunity when you have just 10 boxes to work with. Gotta pick up those.
Both bowlers missing single pins in that 3rd frame. Yeah, the bowling purists, they don't like this one game. Well, to me, it's exciting. I mean, on any given day,
There you go.
That makes you feel real good about missing a single pin now, because you know that was the fill. You would have been right back in this match. Here you see the strike. 6-pin again. This time it topples over for the strike. Speaking as a bowler, I would like 10 games, because you know the better bowlers, the longer you go, the better chance they got of catching you. But we've had some terrific matches in this one string, the Challengers match. Half Worcester left for Mark. Oh, that's gone.
His 3rd mark.
Boy, did that go quickly. Take a look at that one. Like they were tied together. 3rd mark out of 5 boxes. Mark.
And the fill is worth 7. Leaves the 1, 3, and 7 in the left corner. Got the head pin, but that's it.
Yeah, try to play it on the left-hand side. Wanted to carry the ball off the head pin into the 7 and have the head pin take the 3. A little light on the head pin, and it'll be an 8 box and 80 through 6.
Big box coming up for Rich following the strike in the 4th, his 1st mark. Part of the fill gets 7-10 split, gets 8 to go.
Well, you saw him put his, or maybe you didn't see him put his hands up. He wanted that wood right where it is. The ball should carry him off that piece of wood and take the 7, and the wood should take the 10. Oh, he's going to spare on strike.
And we have got a good match.
Very nicely done off the wood.
Here's his fill in the 6th.
Just the 4 fill, though. He climbed within 9 pins. He's offset an 8 frame. Oh, that close to 3 in a row. Can gain a couple and count.
Does it. So it's a 7-pin differential, mark up 80 to 73. 4 boxes to go for both bowlers. John Bird, the champ, waiting in the wings. No pun intended.
Kicks out the 6 and the 10, leaves himself the 2, 4, and 7-pin piece of wood. Looks like it's got the good angle. Red line should remove all 3 of them. Oh, he's a little high. No, he's shaking his head. He knew as soon as he let the ball go.
Open in the 7th. Marked in 3 of the first 5. Make that,
sorry.
yeah, 3 of the first 5.
Good look at our champ, waiting in the wings.
Fast enough.
Well, another single pin, 6-pin. This would be huge, of course. Nope.
Missed.
Leaving the door open for Rich Clark. Can he walk through?
10 box to 98. Rich for 7 and 8 now.
Rich is married. Wife's name is Cindy. Has Two children, Lauren and Brandon. Brandon's in the audience today. He's actually sitting in the front row in the back here. The baseball cap on, Red Sox cap on. Very first seat.
Good choice of caps.
Well, Rich can gain a couple in count. He's opposite an 8 frame. He can reduce this deficit a few more.
Got all three, the 2, the 4, the 10, so a 10 box, and it's down to 5.
There's Brandon.
Eighth box now. 6 go.
He's looking at the 1, 2, 8, and 10. Problem pin could be the 8 because of the, I don't know if that wood can carry in the back. No. And now he's liable to lose a 1 or 2 in count if he can't get a 10 box, but it's going to come down to the final 2 frames.
Pin rolling, trying to pick off the 10.
He does.
Yes. So it stays at 5, 98-93, the advantage for Mark Lavoie.
Of course, he would love to put at least 1 mark up and force Rich to throw 2 marks when he gets up. Well, he's going to have a chance at the triangle, 4, 7, and 8. Every pin so very important now. Just an 8 box.
Mark's final box. It's not for the day if he gets the championship round. Drops 9.
Leaves the
Leaves that 10 up.
10 pin. Now it's a tough one for a right-hander. Not today.
So a strong finish gets him an extra ball. Little bonus ball to add to the score.
Definitely wants 7 or better would be good. Not 3. That leaves the door open for Rich Clark.
119.
Needing only 1 mark to catch him. These 27 pins.
Got to come up with a mark.
Oh, he'll shoot at the triangle that Mark Lavoie just shot at, the 4, 7, and 8. Piece of wood rolling away now, won't be a problem. You got to be thinking 4 pin.
Got all 3.
4 pin was the object pin. If you missed that one, you're probably not going to make the mark. You see the replay of that spare. All important fill now. Anything less than 7, he would need another mark. No, that's not less than 7.
That's 9.
That should give him the win. Already at 121, regardless of what happens. So
Rich Clark to advance to play John Bird, and he'll get a bonus ball too. Ending with 2 spares. Total of 4 marks, strike, and 3 spares for Rich. Started so promisingly for Mark Lavoie.
oh, what a finish for Rich.
Ended so well for Rich Clark. 132-119, 13-pin victory. Time to bring on John Bird. That's next in the championship match right here on CNH. Match, and by virtue of a 132-119 one of the challengers match, Rich Clark, who you see right there, will now take on John Bird, who comes back on the show after knocking off Craig Holbrook, who had that terrific run, but wasn't good enough to beat John Bird last week.
A terrific match it was.
7-pin drop to open with. He leaves a 2-4-7. John joining us from Adams, Massachusetts, in the western part of the state. Gets the 7.
It's about a 2-day ride. Over. It's out there. Great country, though. Nice country out there. He'll start with a 9-box.
So 2 games. We take the total to determine the champ here. 2-game match. That'll drop 6. Leaves the 1, 3, 6, 8 in the back row.
Almost. But he'll be open the first 2. See if Rich Clark can keep the momentum going. He finished strong with 2 spares and then a strike fill in that last spare in the challengers match. Pair 9s.
He was telling me during the break that that triangle leave, as often as nemesis, wasn't the case there in that 9th box. Got that 4-7-8 to spark his strong finish.
His nemesis in past shows has been lane 36, and he talked about that before the show. And he did miss the single pin and the 6-pin early in that match on lane 36. I'm thinking, was he thinking about that? But he made a great recovery and good finish. Good effort there.
Two and the 8 remain. Wood in between. Went past the 2. Pick off the 8 thanks to the wood. So it's a 9. Matching that of John Bird in the first box.
Interesting season we've had, John. You know, Dave Barber was leading the pack for so many weeks. And then it was a matter of 3 weeks. He not only lost first place, but now he's on the bubble in 3rd place for that last show.
Hopefully he's been in touch with the Dave Barber fan club to get some personal support.
That's right.
And encouragement. Had some fans showing up this season with the t-shirt supporting him. There you go. First mark of this championship match for Rich. He has to watch anxiously over the final 8 weeks to see if he can maintain that 3rd spot.
And take John's Bird situation, he's probably looking at 6 weeks, because then 6 weeks go by, no one beats his score. He's at least in the top 3. So it'll be interesting to watch the next several weeks as we count down to that final show.
John now without a mark in his first 3 boxes. Couple 9s and an 8. Totals 26.
John's going to try to break the ice, get on the scoreboard with a mark, loosen himself up. It was a break, but I'm not so sure he wanted the head pin to go down. Although there's a double piece of wood in front of the 7 pin, and then the 3rd piece in between the 7 and the 9. I think if he goes right-hand tip of that first piece of wood, could snap it toward the 9 and the 10. That's what he's trying to do. Not quite.
The 10 remains. First 10 box for John Bird up to 36. Now it's to Rich, coming up with the fill in the 3rd following that spare back in the 2nd.
Just 2.
Half Worcester left.
recovery, but he wanted that one on the first ball.
Total of 9 following the disappointing 2 on the fill.
Right back with a strike.
Well done by Rich.
On lane 36 too, so.
Fighting his demons. Spare in the second, now strike in the fourth on that lane.
The kingpin, the 5-pin, a little stubborn at the end, but finally goes over.
John Bird's going to need some marks. Doesn't want to fall behind in a big way early. Spread eagle, though.
Oh, great try on the spread eagle. You cut the 2 and the 4. The 2 flew right between the 3 and the 6, or the, yeah, and then wrapped around the 6 and the 10. That's a 2-pin laying down there. The 9 box.
Not what John probably expected open through the first half of game 1. Still plenty of time. Drops 5, leaves 5. Open again. Well, lucky for John Bird, Rich Clark had just 2 on that first fill. Now we'll see what he does here. Otherwise, it'd be a much bigger gap. For his sake, Rich needs to capitalize following the strike in the fourth. A big fill here would open up some space early.
Boy, half Worcester left.
He'll get a second ball as part of that fill.
Good recovery.
Narrowly got the spare. Total of 9 on the fill. And a 10 box.
Just missing that head pin. I don't even think you could fit a piece of paper between that ball and that head pin sometimes, but the result was just a half Worcester on the first ball, and a great recovery with the second.
The lead, though, is just at 14, and when you look at compare the scores, you would guess that it might be higher, based on no marks from John and the 2 from Rich, including the strike.
Oh, great
Make it
spare.
3.
On lane 36, he's got that problem solved.
Take a look before we head to break. And Rich is rolling his 3rd mark. 2 spares to go with a strike. He's in control early. Back with more after this on CNN. Welcome back. Game 1 of 2 in the championship match, and the early advantage to the challenger, Rich Clark.
I can't pick up anything different that John's doing that he didn't do last week, other than that he's not getting marks, obviously, but seems to be throwing the same ball. So he's just got to keep plugging away. Hope things change for him. Just touched the head pin that time. Let's see where this wood settles down. It's not good, folks. Wants to turn a little. Well, turned a little. I still think he has to be almost near the right-hand tip. Otherwise, he's going to miss that 3-pin. Got the 3, missed the 6 and 10. So he's still open after 7 frames. Pinning well.
Yeah, 10 boxes in 3 of the last 4, but naturally he would prefer marks. Over to 8 now for the champ. Shooting to make it 2 weeks in a row.
No luck there. The 6-7, piece of wood in front of the 6. He'll try to snap that off the wall, take the 6 out, and hopefully all the way across the left-hand corner in the 7. Almost got it like you're shooting right at the 6 pin. These games are much more difficult than throwing 150, believe me.
75 through 8.
Rich Clark working on a spare, leading by 14 now. He's going to increase that with his first ball and really could take charge of this match.
And he will drop 8. Healthy Phil. Little Earl Patrol.
My name is Earl. Here I come.
Cue the music.
The grace of a gazelle. Got his own theme now and everything. It's
Can't get enough of it.
well, they play it right till he sits down in the seat again. 86 now for Rich. And a 21 pin advantage over our champ.
Still have a full game plus to go, so hang in there. Gets 8 to drop.
He's contemplating that piece of wood that's half in the channel, half out. As long as the ball stays on the lane, we can get a good camera shot of that. That's good. Wow. That's a great shot.
He's also a seasoned bowler at work.
Just barely see that one that was half in the channel. The piece that's on the lane is perfectly all right, perfectly playable. There's the big mark, his first one. It could come in bunches now.
The bird is awoken.
You see the replay. Just buries it in the 1-3 pocket. Didn't have a chance of standing up. Looking for the double strike.
Instead, it's 7.
Of course, as you know, the triple strike pool is owned by Craig Holbrook so far. And he'll have it all if no one else can duplicate the feat. And there's a great spare on strike.
Champ showing some life down the stretch in game 1. It'll earn him an extra ball.
Splits the 2 and a 4. Watch the 2 pin. Right into that 6. Great shot. Much needed, these 2 marks. If nothing else, for his confidence factor. Oh, what a finish.
Oh,
wow.
Hold the phones.
40 pins in his final 2 frames. That's a champ that doesn't quit. There you go. That last ball tripping the 5 pin for the strike on spare.
The suspected demise of the champ a little premature as he shows down the stretch. Rich will fill with 8. Had a spare back in the 8th, now in the 9th. It's going to be 2 pretty good scores.
Up by 29, but he's faced with a couple marks here in the end. 29 pins through 8 frames completed. And now it drops to 17. He's opposite a 20 frame spare on and strike on spare. So without a mark, this match is going to be fairly close.
Spread eagle plus the 9 in the back. So this is a bit of a surprise.
It sure is. Big turn of events. Wow. All said and done, a 4-pin match. Wow, out of
Incredible.
nowhere is our champ.
It was 29 through 8. Now down to 4. You don't want to miss the second game. It's next on CNA. Back in Woburn, and an invitation to you to join us for the big show.
That's right, but before we do that, our next taping is just in a couple weeks, May 7th. That's the final full taping session where we'll have 4 shows. So if you haven't come down, come on down and join us on the 7th. If you can't make it on the 7th, that final show, one show of the day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, June 4th. Be here for that one. That should be very exciting.
All set now, game 2 of the championship match. And Rich Clark, the challenger, is up 4 pins, but it's a precarious 4 pins after his lead was whittled down late in the game 1.
The champ has got to feel good about this. I mean, he was, like I said, 29 pins down after 8 frames and threw 40 to the last 2 and climbed to within 4. He's got to feel good about it. And Rich Clark's got to say, wow, I had it in hand here, and I let him right back into it.
It's no mistake if you stepped away from the television for a few boxes. John made a furious comeback down the stretch game 1. Rich open to start here, box 1 of the second game.
And he starts with a 9, just like he did the first game. Ended up with 119. Had 4 marks, but disappointing fill in the second box with only 2. The other fills were pretty good. And he gets a mark. Big strike in the second.
Suffice to say, 36 is no longer his problem.
That's right. Scrambling all, the 8 pin, the final pin to go down for that strike, and his second of the match. His 5th mark. One, 3, and 8 pins left for our champ, John Bird. Ooh, right in front of the 8.
You know, he spoke with John in the opening to the show about the fact that when he had that big win over Craig Holbrook, it came in the final of 4 tapings a couple weeks back. More than that, actually, and he had to wonder about momentum, but he finally did refine his game, so to speak, late in game 1 and has the support of his family. He's rolling now in game 2.
That's right. You wonder.
You want to kind of bottle that when you have a game like that.
That's true. You want to keep going. But he made a big splash while he was here. That's for sure. He's in the top 3. Looking for 2 in a row, and he thought he had that ball hung a little bit to the right on him. His ball usually breaks a little bit from right to left. And that one kind of hung out there for him and just missed the head pin. So it's just 19 for his 2 frames. Rich Clark, chance to push it into double figures again.
Big 2 balls coming up for Rich. Got out to a 4-pin lead after game 1. Excellent opportunity to add to that right now with the fill. And that'll get him 8. Leaves the 3 and the 5, the 3 and the kingpin.
Looks like it's no problem. Piece of wood right out in front of the 3 and a 5. Oh, what happened? Wow. Hope we have that on the pin cam. There was a second piece of wood. The only thing I think of is they came in contact and just one went right, one went left. Wow. I think Rich had that marked down too.
Looked like spare on strike. But let's take a peek.
Look. Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Out of his 4th box. Gonna leave 2 in the back row. Seven and the 9.
7 and 9 wants to snap that wood, maybe on the right-hand tip of the wood. Hopefully he'll go down, take the 7, and come off the wall. right idea. Not the good result he wanted. So 2 open frames.
Time for John Bird to respond. John was telling me before the match he feels very comfortable here at the Bowlerdrome. Likes the way things play, likes the long approach.
Ooh, he hit the 1, 3, 5, and 10. Everything, or 1, 3, 9, and 10. Leaves the 10 pin.
Got it. 10 box. Overall lead through 3 completing game 2 is at 12 for Rich Clark.
We're going to break off the head pin by dropping 8, but I'm not so sure he likes the spare leave he has left and all kinds of wood. He's got the 8 and 9. Wow. That's a great shot. See, it gives us a different angle. He's got to play the one closest to him, not the one pointing at him. But it's got to come off the wall. Oh, wow.
There you go. Got it done for the spare.
Not having a very good day today calling these shots, and these guys are making them their way. And wow, the ball took the 9 pin, the wood took the 8. Great shot. 2 ways to make that, his way and my way. And I guess apparently my way is not the right way. Rich Clark right back with an 8-pin drop, leaving the 5-8. Now in this one, I'd try to split the 5 and the 8. Ooh.
No laughing matter there.
No. You hate that when you hit the object pin, the 5, and it was just too heavy, drove it straight back. Gets a 10 box, 55. I'll tell you, his nemesis now is lane 35. He hit 2 shots there I thought he should have had.
Box 6. Wow, spread eagle in the 9 in the back row. Open for 5 of 6 will be Richer in game 2. Just had that strike coming back in the second.
I said 55 was 56 for Rich. He's open again, these 2 frames. And our champ is working on a spare. So here we go again, folks. It's going to go right down to the wire. Big 9-pin drop, leaves a 6. Lead now is just 2.
Can he make it 2 in a row?
Yes, he does, and a chance to take over the lead. No, I'm not sure who it was in the front row. It's either his mother or mother-in-law. She was down at the beginning of the show, and she moved. And I can't help to think that I'm jinxing him. I'm going to move back to the front row in the back.
Wanted a change in karma.
Spread eagle minus that 6-pin, 5 fill on the spare. Enough to grab the lead, at least temporarily, depending on what he finishes with the frame. Oh, what a try.
He's looking for 3 in a row.
Oh, he can gain a couple more and count and increase his lead now. Took him 15 boxes to grab the lead, but he has it now.
And that lead is up to 5 overall. 9 in this game, 5 overall for the champ. Can he hold on? We'll find out next. Back at Woburn for the final 4 boxes of game 2. It's a real tight match right now. Both bowlers open in the 6th box. And the lead is at 5 pins for John Bird. Here's Rich over on 35.
You know, I hate to go back to that strike in the second box. Remember, he had the 8-pin drop with 2 pieces of wood in front. We thought he was going to make the spare. He didn't. From then on, he hasn't got really a good break since then.
Earl on the scene.
He just buried that ball in the pocket and leaves a 6-7-9. Rich is going to go after like the 10-pin was there. He wants to be on the right-hand side of that 6-pin and hopefully into the 9 and across for the 7. Nope, too much of the 6.
He's going to be open in the 7th, though it is a 10 box.
Well, trailing by 5, you know, he needs at least 1 mark going down the stretch, but he would like a couple. Put a little pressure on our champ. Light hit there. 4, 5, 7, 8, and 10. A couple pieces of wood, one in between the 4 and the 5, and another one out in front. He'll use that one, as you can see on the left.
The 5 and the 10 stick around.
Well, chance for our champ to throw a couple marks up there and take control, but right now the lead is 5.
John Bird in the 7th. This is to the left. It's 5 to go, though.
Now he's got some help in between and next to the 3-pin. First order of business is grab the object pin, which is the head pin. Oh boy, 2 pieces of wood came together and behind the 5-pin, otherwise it was going to go down. Trying to match the 10 box put up by Rich Clark, keep it at 5.
He'll do it. If he gets a mark here, it's going to make Rich's life difficult.
Yeah, I say it time and time again. The 8th frame of any match is, when you're bowling 2 boxes, is real pivotal because you know you got a mark working when you get up there. Whoa, boy, that looked ugly for a minute, didn't it? And then all of a sudden,
surprise!
Yeah, he leaves himself to 6-10, and well, the wood isn't great out in front, but it was certainly better than he. Yeah, bit of a roadblock with the wood out. I don't like the wood next to the 6 and a 10. That could cause the front piece to react differently. Oh,
Got it.
Problem.
Wow, that's a key one.
Huge mark.
Earl's been busy.
Somebody in the audience said, does Earl get paid? I says, well, we pay Earl on the number of trips he makes down. So,
Well,
geez, he
bag
didn't get paid
pickup.
much last week, did he? I says, no, he didn't. He didn't go down much. Well, Rich Clark has got his work cut out for him now, trailing by 6. And he's got Mark working, and he answers with a big strike.
Remember, it was John Bird who finished so strong in game 1. Perhaps Rich will do it this time.
Wow, the 8-pin walked over, and luckily a piece of wood finally caused it to go down.
First part of the field gets him 6.
I would say that he would need this. He can't afford to think that John Bird might have a lousy fill in that spare. So I would say he needs this mark to have a chance. Oh, leaves the 9. It's not over. John Bird's going to have a decent fill, and he's going to have to pin. 230 for a total for Rich Clark, 119, 111. So John Bird needs 116 for 231 for the win. He's a 113 clip right now. So he can't have any bad frames or bad fills. And that's not a bad fill. There's your winner right there. Came from way back.
John Bird making it 2 in a row.
Took him a while to get going, but he kept fighting the pins, and finally, and boy, he does a lot of damage, John. The 9th and 10th of the first game, and he's going to do a lot of damage here the last 3 frames of this game.
He's got one of those Live Strong bracelets on. Well, he's finishing strong both games. So it'll be John Bird on to a 3rd week right here on the $30,000 Candlepin Challenge. As he finishes with a spare, strike, and then a spare. That was the bonus ball. Wins it by 26. Wow, hard to believe that, considering the early boxes in this one. Back to wrap it up from Woburn on CNA.
Today on Sports Pulse with Ed Berliner, we recap the 2006 NFL Draft. Find out if the Patriots got what they needed to get back to the big game. Sports Pulse, Monday, 10 Eastern on.
Welcome back. It's another win for John Bird, 2 in a row, but it took a while for the game to get going, and then once it did, you were off and running.
Yeah, got to about the 8th box, and it's tough, you know. You're looking for that first mark, and the farther you go, sometimes the worse it gets. So finally broke the ice and started coming on a little bit.
Dan?
I know you're probably not thinking about it, but a lot of people are. Your magic number now is 5. If no one beats your score in 5 weeks, you're in the top 3, but you'd like to stay where you are at number 1, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd love to be number 1. That'd be a great position, but it was a tough match with Rich. He got some tough breaks, and I did too, and he's a great bowler, so it was a nice win.
You just kept fighting. Nice going.
Thank you.
And we'll see you back here next week as you go for 3 in a row.
Thank you. Thank you.
That'll do it for the $30,000 Candlepin Challenge. We'll see you next week on CNA.